Welcome, I am Nathan, aka StreetDoc187. With Skyrim Anniversary coming out, I figured I'd make a guide for all the new beginners who wanted to try Skyrim. Maybe you saw videos, maybe you got a PS4, maybe you've got a PS5 and an Xbox One and really wanted to check it out. It can be a lot at first, but I'm going to make a video simply on controls and a good walkthrough for all beginners. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to go over is the controls. Now I'm going to be talking about the PlayStation and the Xbox controls. So let's get started. So with your right thumb over the right stick, this is how you look around. You can move it in 360 degrees. You can look up, left, and right. With your left thumb over the left stick, this is how you move. Whee! So the X button or the A button on the Xbox controller is your action button. That's how you open the doors, that's how you read books, that's how you loot corpses, and so on and so forth. The circle button or the B button on Xbox is how you open the menu. Now we will talk about the menu a little later, so let's get back to the controls. The triangle button or the Y button is how you jump. You can jump as much as you want. It does not deplete stamina. Square or the X button is how you take your weapons out. Okay? And then you hold it to put your weapons away. Now to swing or use magic, that is the right trigger. You can sit here and tap it and it does not use stamina. If you hold it, it will use a power attack. And that does use stamina. And you do not have infinite amount of stamina. Now the left trigger is how to use whatever is in your left hand. In this case I have magic. So if you can tell, I have a sword in my right hand and magic in my left. So R2 is the right hand and L2 is the left hand. Now for the right bumper, so on PlayStation it would be R1, on Xbox it would be RB. So in the game, you will eventually get what's called a shout or a thum. Due to being a dragonborn, you can take dragon shouts and do dragonborn stuff. So this is what's used for RB. So for example, I have fire breath. So RB, I use fire breath. Now on the very top of the screen, you will see a compass with north, west, south, and other compass stuff. You also see a blue bar. That is the recharge of your shout. So you cannot use a shout again until it is completely like empty or blinking like you see it now. Now you can use it again. Okay, now L1 or LB is something. Sorry, I literally just had a brain fart. So, L1 or LB is how you sprint. I don't know how I forgot that, but I'm sorry. So the way to sprint is you actually have to be moving, and then you hold it down. You can't just stand still and hold it. So you sit there, hold down the button. To stop, you either completely let go of the left thumbstick, or while you're running, you press it again. He'll keep running at a normal speed, but he won't be sprinting. As you can see at the bottom right, it does use stamina. Alright. Now, to crouch or enter stealth mode, you click the left thumbstick. Click, 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 click. Now, as you can see, in the middle of your screen, you will see the lines with a dot in the middle. That is your stealth meter. So right now, since there are no enemies around me or NPCs, I am 100% in stealth. So it's actually an eyeball, and let me show you what I mean. Let me go find an NPC real quick. Possibly. Question mark. Standby. There we go. So again, there we are. So if I'm in the view of somebody, that will open up to an eye. That means I'm detected. So if it's completely closed, that means I'm hidden. If someone is looking for me, that will slowly open until I am found or until they do not see me. Now, the thing with being stealthy is that attacks do a lot more damage. Like, for example, the bow and arrow will do 2 times damage if you're stealth. A sword will do 3 times damage, and so on and so forth, and that's without upgrading stealth. So now let's talk about how to favorite stuff. So again, we will touch on most of the items stuff in a second. So to favorite something, let's say for example you want to use this bow and arrow quickly. So you'll press triangle or Y and you will see a little arrow pop up. So that's now in your favorite section. So if you're in the game, press up on your D-pad or the arrows next to your left thumb, the up, down, left, and right. If you press up, this little menu will show up. This is your favorited menu. So you can quickly get to the favorited items that you've done. And there's the bow that I just favorited. It is very good to kind of get used to favoriting items because it will save you, especially if you're in combat and you need to get life out or you need to use a different spell and so on and so forth. So let's talk a little bit about the HUD. If you can see at the bottom of the screen, there's a blue, a red, and a green bar. So once you're in combat, you know, if you're fighting and stuff, those bars will actually show up. So the blue bar is your mana, or your magic. In this game, it's called magicka. The way magic works is you need to get the spell out, which we will go over most of the spells here in the future. But for example, I'm just going to use a fire spell. So whenever you're using a spell, depending on how much the spell costs, that blue bar will go down. So this spell costs me 98 magic per use. So every time I use it, it will take 98 points from my magic. And that bar can run out to the point that you cannot use a spell. Now, the red bar is your health. Now, the way health works in this game is whenever you take damage, just like most games, the health bar will go down. And the way to heal that is using potions, you use magic spells to heal, and you can also eat. The green bar is your stamina. So just like we talked about before, power attacks will use stamina, sprinting will use stamina, however, jumping does not use stamina. And the way to recharge it is just to kind of run normally or don't use power attacks or, you know, just kind of walk around, just, you know, that kind of stuff. Now, let's go to the menu. So again, that's the B button or circle on PlayStation and B on Xbox. So once you press B, you will find that there are 4 things here. You have skills, items, your map, and magic. So skills, every time you level up, you will be able to choose one for magic, health, and stamina to increase it by 10. Now, another thing with stamina is the more you upgrade stamina, the more weight that you can carry. Now, back to the skills. So as you can tell, there are lots of different skills, lots of skill trees as well. And each one does its own different thing. So for example, the one-handed skill tree. This focuses on one-handed weapons, and it focuses on how much damage it does, power attack stamina, how much damage power attacks do, and so on and so forth. The more you use it, the higher upgrade that you can do. So for example, this one says dual wielding attacks are 20% faster. As you can see under that, my level is 65. This skill for me to unlock it requires level 30. So if I had a point, or the next time I level up, I can acquire that ability. Archery, for the skills using your bow. Light armor, so there are 2 different kinds of armor. There's light armor and heavy armor, which we will talk about here shortly. This increases, you know, your armor rating, how much it weighs. Your sneak ability is what we talked about before with sneaking and stealth. This is how easy it is or hard it is for you to get found by enemies. Lockpicking, how easy it is to lockpick, which we will go over. Pickpocketing, for all them scandalers out there. That's how easy it is for you to pickpocket somebody and not get found, and the percentage of success. Now, speech is the way to sell and get prices easier from merchants. So, for example, let's say your speech is level 0 and someone is selling something for 100 gold. Now, if you upgrade speech, let's say prices are better by 20%, so now that same item is 80 gold, and so on and so forth. You can also bribe guards, and then there's also things called Persuasion, so you can sit there and talk, and maybe a different sentence will pop up for you to be able to kind of like persuade yourself through the situation, and it'd be a lot more easier. Now, alchemy in this game is able to make potions and poisons, and let me fast travel to my home and show you how to make them. Pitter patter. Vape life, by the way. So like I said, with alchemy, that's how you make potions and poisons. Now, to get ingredients, you can either buy them from alchemists, or you can actually pick them up from grass and trees or enemies, and you know, kind of just use them. So these are all a lot of ingredients. So the way it works is whenever you first play Skyrim, on the right side are their attributes. So for example, this blue mountain flower, excuse me, I can use to make a potion to restore health, to fortify conjuration, or damage magic. Now, whenever you first play Skyrim, all of these will be unknown because you haven't used them yet. The way to be able to figure out what they use is you actually have to eat them. And at the bottom right corner, you see L2 and R2 to eat, so you literally press it to eat, and then it'll tell you at least one attribute so that you can sit there and use it. So let me show you how to actually make something. So here, I'll just take them off. So you go up to an alchemy lab. You use your ingredients and go to somewhere that is not hollow. If it's hollow, you don't have the requirements for it. So let's say damage health. So you use 2 or 3 ingredients, and then at the right you will see the potion you're going to make, and then you simply say craft. See? And now you have that potion. And that is also how you upgrade alchemy. And the way to upgrade ingredients to figure out more effects they do is to use them and make potions from them. And again, that's how you actually upgrade your alchemy. Alright, let me put these back real quick. Oh, and also, making potions is a great way to make money. A lot of potions sell for a lot of money, which is great. Alright, so back to the skills. So illusion spells. The School of Illusion involves manipulating the mind of an enemy. This skill makes it easier to cast spells like Fear, Calm, and Invisibility. So illusions, just like it said, can help with enemies, and by calming it means if an enemy is looking at you and fighting you, you can cast a spell and he won't be fighting you anymore, he's not angry. So I have a few of them. So Clairvoyance shows the path to my current goal, or my current objective. So for example, let me put an objective down, and it shows me the way to my objective. Now other spell I have called Muffle, I use, and that silences my footsteps and makes me quieter. Conjuration is the School of Conjuration governs raising the dead and summoning creations from oblivion. This skill makes it easier to cast these spells as well as soul traps and bindings. So, this is for raising the dead, as you can see, and summoning things from what's called oblivion, or summoning things from the afterlife. So, for example,
when I hold my thought with my arm, I know I made the right choice.
There you are. I summoned a archer, I guess. The higher the skill tree, the more powerful stuff you can summon. Destruction. This is blowing shit up. It says harassing the energy to fire, frost, and shock. Skill makes it easier to cast fireball, ice pick, and lightning bolt. So, for example, fireball. Boom. Simple as that. Blow stuff up, destroy, you know, chitty chitty bang bang spells. Restoration. This is your healing magic. Okay, you can also use it for undead enemies. You can actually make them into your allies and use what's called magic wards. And wards are somewhat like shields to deflect from enemy magic. So again, healing, and you're going to be using that a lot. And lesser ward. So like I said, these are shields to deflect enemy magic. Okay, let's go to the next one. Alteration. The skill of Alteration involves manipulation of the physical world and its natural properties. This skill makes it easier to cast water breathing, magical protection, and paralysis. We're on Alteration, right? Yes. Let me see here. Alright, Oak Flesh improves the caster's armor rating by 40 points. So this one will increase my armor rating. So I'll get increased armor for a little while. So you see how I glowed green? That means my armor's fucking OP for a hot second. So again, that's for water breathing and paralysis, which is actually a really cool skill. You can be fighting someone and you're just like, nope! Alright, Enchanting. So the way Enchanting works, let me go to an Enchanting bench. So the way Enchanting works is you take a weapon without any properties, you'll bring them to an enchanting place, you will select the property, and then use what's called a soul gem, and then you're able to now make the weapon with that property. Now, to get the property, and I will show you what I mean in a second, you take an item and you actually break it down. And like I said, I'll show you in a second, so it's, you know, a lot simpler. You know what, let me buy something so I can actually give you an example.
To these spells and incantations for those with the talent to guess them.
Good God, this motherfucker. Alright, I'll buy a soul gem.
You know, if you've got the aptitude, you should join the major.
So you do need what's called a soul gem, which is what I just bought. So a soul gem has to have, however, filled with a common soul. If you pick up a soul gem and it's empty, you cannot use it for enchanting. So like I said in the beginning, to get its property, you have to go to disenchantment. So I do have a ring that is equipped that makes lockpicking 35% easier. Now, if I would to want to put that enchantment on something else, I would have to break down the ring to be able to learn it. But I don't want to do that. So the way enchanting works is you would pick an item, whether it's your sword, your clothing, and then you go to the enchantment. These are all the ones that I've used. So let's say you want to use absorb 8 points of health. You would select that, and then you would select your soul gem somewhat as like a power, like a battery, and then you can equip it. Now, as you can tell, so my sword is actually enchanted. So what it does is it's 30 points of extra damage to dragons, 10 points of shock damage to others. So that bar under the damage, weight, and value, that little bar, that's its charge. Whenever it's empty, you have to press R1 or RB, and you use a soul gem with a soul in it to recharge it. And then you'll see that bar in the bottom right corner, and whenever it's empty, you have to do it again. Alright, next skill, smithing. Smithing is just like it sounds like. You use metal and stuff to make armor. Higher smithing skills, the better armor you make. So on and so forth. Now, there is a way to be able to farm and level up smithing relatively easy, and I'll show you that real quick. So the way to do it is you go to any merchant, usually the merchants that do smithing and weapons and stuff. Go to the Miscellaneous, buy iron ingot, and then buy leather strips.
Good doing business with you.
Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take those.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the Blacksmith Forge. So the Blacksmith Forge is where you make all the stuff. Your hide, your leather, your studded, and what you need to make it is at the bottom right corner. Now, to farm smithing, go to iron, and go to iron dagger. So it costs one, just one, of iron and leather strips. And sit there and farm. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a very long and annoying process, but it's the best I got. Anyway, so, the Workbench. Workbench is used to upgrade your armor. So, like I said before, some armor and weapons have attributes. For example, this armor grants increased carry capacity by 50 points. This one is lockpicking, archery, and alchemy is 20% better. The wearer is muffled and moves silently, and lockpicking is 20% easier, and one-handed attacks do 20% more damage. So, since these have attributes, you have to get smithing to level 60 to be able to upgrade weapons that are magical, that have attributes, and then you can unlock Arcane Blacksmith. If you do not have that, you cannot upgrade weapons and armor with magic or with attributes. Now, a tanning rack. Tanning rack is used to make leather into leather strips. So, leather, you can pick it up from enemies, you can kill animals, you know, it's leather. The grindstone is used to level up your weapons. At the same time, you know, you have to have that ability to upgrade magical weapons. And as you can see at the bottom right, it says required ebony ingot. So you have to have the ingot or the requirement item to be able to level up that weapon. Over here is what's called your smelter. Now you can actually sit there and mine in this game using a pickaxe and finding sections of the map that have that you're able to mine to get ores. Whenever you have an ore, you find this place, the smelter, and you are able to use the ores to make ingots, just like all this. Alright, so we've gone over controls, we are almost done with skills, and then we'll go on to items and kind of quick inventories. So heavy armor is, you know, well, heavy armor, like I said, there's two types of armors in this game, light and heavy. Blocking is what it sounds like. You can either use a shield or a one-handed, which I did forget to mention, so I'll mention that in a second. And two-handed weapons. So in this game, there are two types of weapons. You have one-handed and two-handed. Two-handed means you have to use both your hands, obviously. So to block, let me get rid of my magic. So if you have a shield, you equip the shield to your left hand and hold L2 or left trigger. If you have just one sword, no magic, you also hold down L2 or left trigger. It does use stamina, and every time they hit, it uses stamina, and it can also do a little bit of damage as well. Alright, so let's go to your items. Weapons is what it sounds like, it's your weapons. The apparel is your clothing. Potions are, well, your potions that you made or picked up. Books are also, you know, books that you pick up. There are some books in this game. If you find them, if you look at the book and the value says 50, pick those books up because those are skill point books. Those points, those books will automatically give you a skill point for whatever category of skill it is. So if you find a book on lockpicking, it'll automatically give you a lockpicking skill point. Keys are what they sound like. You will find keys all around Skyrim to unlock doors and stuff. Miscellaneous is, well, the miscellaneous items that you pick up, like a plate or a bowl or, you know, a doll, you know, just weird stuff that you want to collect. So again, with the favorites button, you find an item that you like, you press triangle or Y, go to the game, press up on the D-pad, and they are now in your favorites section. Ooh, I was about to break into a house. Actually, well, since we're here, might as well talk about lockpicking. So whenever you go up to a door that is locked, it will say unlock War Maiden, and then under it will be a diamond with a word, adept. So that's the difficulty of the lock. It goes from novice to apprentice to adept to expert to master, and that's the difficulty. So the way lockpicking works. So your right thumbstick moves the lock itself. Your left thumbstick moves the top piece. So what you're trying to do is, one, not break the actual lockpick itself. You move the top piece around until the lock itself starts moving. So as you can see, I moved the top metal piece a little bit to the left of the starting point, and now using the right thumbstick, I move it to the right, and now the lockpick is starting to move. However, right there, it broke, but right there, it starts to vibrate. So that means I need to move it a little bit more to be able to unlock it. So let's try a little bit to the left, and there we go, it 100% unlocks. You'll get used to it. It is a little weird at the start, but you know, you will get used to it. And for pickpocketing, we go into the stealth mode like we talked about, and you go behind a volunteer person, and you can sit here and pickpocket. So looking at inventory is not illegal. Pickpocketing itself is when you can get in trouble. So the way it works, the bottom right of the screen, it says 63% to steal. That is your percent rate to successfully pickpocket. And the rest of it, the 37%, is the percentage chance of you failing and getting caught. If you want to, you know, upgrade your pickpocket, go to the skill pickpocketry and, well, upgrade it from there. You little devilish person, you.
What are you doing that for?
What are you doing that for? Alright, so let's go to your map. So this game of Skyrim is wonderfully just amazing. It is huge. There are like hundreds of places for you to explore. I don't know if there's hundreds, but there's a lot. So you can easily get lost in its beauty. So there is main missions that you can follow, or you can just run around, go through dungeons, fight enemies, fight dragons, and loot, and just level up, and, you know, just have a blasty blast. My recommendation for all those who are new is to go find the Lover Stone. Now, the Lover Stone is all the way west, right next to Markarth. It's like, I don't know, like, a foot northeast from it, from the map, I guess. I don't know if I can zoom in more. No, I can't. So the reason why I say get the Lover Stone. So the Lover Stone increases your XP gained for all skills by 15%. So one-handed, two-handed, alchemy, it increases the speed of which you leveled up by 15%. And there's something angry. Oh god, it's a dragon. Well, time to talk about dragons and shit. So, the way dragons work. Soul Trap, don't need that. Illusion, don't need that. Let's see here. I'll use an archer. Alright, start fighting. Oh god, I almost fell. I need an adult. So anyway, the way dragons work is, well, they're dragons. There's different difficulties of dragons. Dragon, Frost Dragon, Elder Dragon, you know, that kind of stuff. Each one has different attributes. It could, you know, breathe fire, it could breathe ice. I think that's the only two. So, and then the way that to get Thumes and Shouts, as we called it, no, he's gone. As we called it before, and we talked about it before, is you actually have to kill a dragon. You will actually steal its soul, and then you find what's called a Word of Power. You will then use the dragon's soul to unlock it. I think I actually have extra, so let me show you what I mean. So in your magic, you go to your Shouts, which is on the bottom, and these are all your Shouts. So as you can see at the bottom, I have 10 dragon souls. So I can use 10 souls to unlock 10 shouts. So for example, let me upgrade, let me get this one. Aurora Whisper. So I will press square or X on the Xbox. There we are. And I have that shout.
Nice.
I have no idea what the hell just happened. Oh, that's cool. I think it lets me see enemies, I guess. I don't fucking... Anyway. So, like I said, my recommendation is to get the Lover Stone, which is right here. Again, that's a little northeast of Markarth. Another recommendation... Oh god, there's still an enemy nearby. Is it this stupid dragon? Where is he? Fight me, bitch! Come on. Oh. Well, where is he? Well, that's actually a very good example anyway. You cannot wait for fast travel if there's enemies nearby. So there you go. There we are. Again, I use that favorite because that thing is just so useful. Burn! There we go. And by the way fast traveling works, since we are talking about the map. So if you do not have a place discovered, for example, Rorik said, I do not have that discovered, you cannot fast travel to it. You can place a marker on it to help you find your way, denote a way, and as soon as you discover it, that's how you fast travel to places. So if you haven't discovered it, you cannot fast travel to places. If you do have it discovered, you can fast travel there. Now, what I was going to say before, I highly recommend saving a little money. Let's see how much it costs.
Where do you want to go?
So 50, 100, 150, it's 170, 190, 210, 230. Okay, so let's just say save up about 300 gold. And I recommend using this gold at a carriage. Which is found in most major places, and fast traveling to every major city. The reason being is so that you can fast travel with your map to each city, and you can sit there and use it as like a checkpoint, or if you need to go, a certain way up a map. Let's say you need to go up to Solitude around there for some reason, you can fast travel right to Solitude. Or if you want, you could start your adventure, top left of the map. You know what I mean? Learn more about, something. Ugh. Oh yeah, let's turn that off. And here's my pet. You can have pets, you just gotta, kind of go. For all my horse lovers out there, at all stables, you can rent a horse. I believe it costs 1,000 gold. Let me see here.
It's a nip in the air.
Oh, they're closed. So most shops open at 8 a.m. in the game and close at 8 p.m. in the game. So the way to tell is to open your menu, which is B your circle. At the bottom right corner, you can see the time, which is 12:53. Or you can press the wait button, which is the touch screen on PS4. And I believe it's the, what's it called? The left share, no. Let me see here. I forgot what it's called. I apologize. I'm trying to remember my Xbox controls for back in the day. Because, I can see it. I just can't freaking remember it. I think it's the back button. I think that's what it's called. That's how you wait, pretty sure. And you can also see the time. You can wait for as long as 24 hours. And, it'll... Well, you wait there menacingly for as long as you need, daytime, nighttime. But yeah, so horses for renting should be about 1,000 gold. Oh, yeah. Alright, so we've gone over controls, smithing, skills. I don't think there's anything more that's really important. Oh, actually, well, the way gold works anyway, might as well just talk about gold. Speaking of that, so you find gold everywhere. You can find gold in chests, you can find gold off dead bodies, you know, etc., etc., etc. Or you can go to a merchant, which is, again, this is a weaponsmith merchant. At the bottom right corner, you will see her name or the person's name. So her name is Adrian Avanki something. Next to that is the number. That's how much gold the shopkeeper has. So she has 1,145 gold to sell to me or just in general. So whenever you talk to somebody, depending on what kind of merchant they are, there are jewel merchants, there are alchemy merchants, and again, this is a blacksmith merchant. So she sells weapons, apparel for, you know, armor, and then miscellaneous, which is usually ingots. And again, you know, get iron ingots to be able to farm the smithing skill. So whenever you go down, you will see your name. In this case, I'm Street Doc 187. This is how you sell items. So if you go to your weapons, pick an item, and again, if you remember, I did make those daggers. Say how many you want to sell. So near your gold, if you look down, there's my gold, and you're going to see a plus 50. So if I sell my daggers, I will earn plus 50 coins from her. If I go to my apparel, I have nothing to sell. If I go to my miscellaneous, I have nothing to sell. So for weapons, you know, all the weapons are going to have damage, weight, and value. Now, as we talked about before, if you increase your stamina, you can have more, you can carry more. So the way carry weight works is at the bottom right screen, you will see red, which is the health bar, how much gold you have, and then the carry weight. So right now I have 77 out of 375. So what I'm wearing and what I have equipped equals 77. And also what I'm holding in my inventory. That counts as potions, that counts as ingots, and so on and so forth. So, as I said before, with this armor, you will see its armor rating, which is how tough the armor is, the weight, which is how much it weighs, and how much you could sell it for maximum wise. It's the same thing with weapons. Now, with weapons, you'll see the damage, and obviously that's how much damage it does. The weapon went per hit, how much it weighs, and what the value is. So to figure out if a sword or bow is better, you equip your sword, and then you highlight the other sword in your inventory and to see if it has more damage or not. Now, there are three types of one-handed weapons. So there's let me see here if I can find it really quick. There's a sword, a war axe, and a mace. So, the sword is the fastest for the one hand, however it's usually the weakest. The war axe is somewhat in the middle. It's decent with speed, and the damage is decent. You know, it's kind of that happy median. The mace has the highest damage, but it's the slowest. As you can see, the sword's damage is 20, war axe is 23, and the damage for the mace is 26. So that's for one-handed weapons. Now for two-handed weapons, there is a great sword, a war hammer, and a battle axe. So the great sword is just like the sword. It is the fastest of the two-handed weapons, but it has the least damage. A battle axe is that happy medium. And the war hammer is the slowest, but has the most damage. Why is everyone looking around? Oh, it's a dragon. Well, if he sits there and fights, then maybe we can actually, I can show you that thing I was talking about with the Thum.
You can't beat me!
You can't beat me! Mother. Come here. Come here. Where you go? Die, dragon. People say, where the hell do you go? That was a horrible shot. Bruh. So you can also dual wield magic. So whenever you equip something, you will see that there's an L and an R. So that means it's in your left or right hand. So if it's an L and R, that means it's either a two-handed weapon or you have it equipped in both hands. So if I go up to my sword and I press R, it's now in my right hand due to the fact that it's an R. And again, bows are always two-handed weapons. Hell well. There we go. So whenever you kill a dragon, you can search the dragon. I highly recommend to get these dragon bones and dragon scales. One, you can sell them for a lot if you want, or whenever you upgrade your smithing, I know it's going to take a while, but if you upgrade your smithing all the way to 100, you can use those to create dragon armor, which is the best armor in the game, in my opinion. So again, the way this works, you kill a dragon, it'll slowly rot away and do things, and then a gust of wind and stuff will gently caress your entire body, and then you will absorb the soul, so you can unlock shouts.
You can't stand the sight of a strong lord.
Make sense? So this is my personal house. You can actually buy a house if you, kind of move through the campaign, or at major cities, you talk to the king, quote unquote, and do a mission. However, they do cost money. This house cost me $5,000, and that's not even without the decorations. So just, kind of letting you know that. All right. In this game, there are what's called, let me go. There are stones that give you powers once per day or permanently. Just like the Lover Stone, it's 15% for all skills. I do have a YouTube video if you want to find all the stones and find which one you like the most. There are dragon places with obviously dragons and words of power to get new words. And I believe there are also masks. I actually forget what the correct terminology for them, but there's a whole bunch of different masks that you find from mini bosses that have their own little powers, which I am currently making a video on at the starting of this video. It should be done relatively soon. Again, at the recording of this video, it's not done yet. So, but there are different masks with different skills, just as this one. There are also hidden weapons, or Daedric weapons, for example, that I will be making a video on how to find them. For example, one Daedric weapon is called Dawnbreaker. Burns for 12 points. When killing the undead, a chance for cause fire explosion that turns or destroys nearby undead. That's just one of the Daedric weapons. So again, as you can tell, there's so much to do, and so much to see. It's a phenomenal game. And since I have it on the PS5, the load screen is just, oh god, it's amazing. I know I'm being a fanboy right now, and I really don't care because I love Skyrim to death. Anyway, thank you guys so much for stopping by. I hope that this kind of helped all, the newer players for Skyrim. I know maybe some of it was fairly obvious or just kind of stupid that I went over, but hey, if you don't master the basics, in my opinion, you won't be able to really master the harder skills. Because you need a foundation, and foundation is the basics. Always master the basics.
Tried mercenary work?
I know that sentence didn't make any sense because, well, I suck with words. Anyway, thank you guys so much for stopping by. I love you all. And obviously, and as always, let's make gaming friendly again.